This part I'd be mad about, too.
Like, hey, by the way, I left $14 million on the table.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Now he's in the process of leaving, Brew. So what does this say about James Harden from 10,000 feet?
No, look, I get it. I mean, as we get more information about why this has happened, it clears things up a bit. All right. At first, I was like, dude, you're running again. All right. But if you look at this situation, like you said, he left $14 million on the table last year. Okay. So they could sign PJ Tucker and Daniel House. All right. Thinking they're going to make good on me. Right. And now Houston pulls out. So now you got nobody to offer you a max deal in free agency or even a big deal in free agency. So now Harden's sitting there like, okay, I haven't talked to Philly because they're following the rules, which I get. I haven't talked to Philly. If I opt out of my deal no one offers me a big contract,
then does Philly have the hammer?
Philly could lowball me, and I might not even get this $35 million.
Yeah.
The one thing I disagree with Harden on, so I understand him opting in, so I at least get that money. I don't think and I get it, he's upset with Philly, but I don't think you had to demand a trade because next year you're going to be in the same exact situation. If he goes to the Clippers, and let's just say by chance, one or two of the stars are hurt.
Oh, no.
Right. Like George and Kawhi are hurt, or one of them's hurt, and it ends badly. They go out in the first or second round, and heck, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard could opt out of their contracts next year.
Correct.
And so now you're on a Clippers team that may not have those guys.
Well,
so you're going to be in a tough spot next year as a free agent anyway. Why not stay in Philly or at least be open to the possibility and try to run it back with the MVP and maybe win a championship?
So I do wonder how much of the Clippers' attractiveness for him, and I know we're talking about his potential destinations in a moment, is being from L.A. They have Kawhi and Paul George. And how much of it is they have the richest owner in the entire league who does not care at all about luxury tax payments, who is opening a new arena, and you know who will have my bird rights and who will offer me the most money if I'm on their team this year, when I am a free agent next year? Steve Ballmer. Like I do, because what it does appear is that Harden made some drastic financial miscalculations involving his time in Philadelphia. Again, I'm not hammering Bobby Marks for this because it was kind of the conventional thought process. But when they traded for him 18 months ago, everyone thought last summer he was going to demand 5 years, $270, opt out of the 47 and get this massive deal. Instead, he opted out of it and got 2 for $68, and everyone's like, oh, okay, that's a wink deal. Remember the speculation?
Right.
Why would he do this? He's the only one on the table. They must have an agreement that he's getting a max deal or something close this summer. Instead, the Sixers, trying to follow the rules, is what everyone is reporting, is what I've heard as well, is like, no, we won't talk to you until Friday. I think he's like, you got to be kidding me. I opted out of this. The whole world thought I was crazy for it. Now I can't even talk to you till Friday like I'm a civilian, and I don't know what money's going to be there for me. So I do think there's part of the attractiveness of the Clippers is they have a very rich owner who does not mind paying luxury tax, and maybe he's the one most likely to give me a long-term deal.
Can I play James Harden's lawyer for a second?
Sure.
His
$2,000 an hour.
winning lawyer.
Winning, okay.
We criticize Dame a little bit. Dame, you need to leave Portland. You got to win. And I guess he's the best example of someone who is steadfast, loyal to the soil. Rather than James Harden running, can you buy...
Party hopping?
No, but that he's aggressively looking for a championship. Rockets were rebuilding. I want out. They wouldn't trade him. He's like, fine, I have to get out here and embarrass you and quit on the team. Then they finally trade him. They trade him to Brooklyn, which was a mess. And we penalize him, and he gets criticized for having his spidey senses up and like, this is a mess. I want out of here. Goes to Philly. Maybe he sees something like, this team doesn't have it.
See, but that's the part I don't buy.
And I'm going to leave again.
No, because we know he was thinking about Houston. They just didn't want him, and we know he was fine with coming back to Philly.
Something in Şengün.
Okay, no.
And Ime Udoka, who last time I checked was in the finals.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
No,
Besides the Houston part.
But he was going to be fine back in Philly if they didn't hurt his feelings on the money.
see, that's the thing. Like,
lawyer,
there's
though.
a couple right. It was a good point.
Yeah.
And
Defend
certainly
your client
Houston. We all.
vigorously.
I didn't feel. Look, I didn't penalize Harden for leaving Houston. I felt like, man, they didn't want to win. The way he did it, okay, that was kind of shaky.
But he wanted out, and they went. They
Right,
tried
I
to
get it. So
embarrass
it was
him.
a little shady, but still, it was fine. All right, he got to Brooklyn. I get it. The vaccination situation with Kyrie, I get why it would frustrate you. However, I'm just saying.
Oh, no.
You still had Kevin Durant. You still had James Harden and Kevin Durant.
They were good.
And here's what the thing that, even if you were right, the thing that pours water on that theory is, James, when you're right there at the cusp, when the championship, getting to the finals is within your grasp, you fold. That's what it is.
That's fair.
That's the thing. If you want it so bad, and maybe he wants it so
bad.
badly
That's why.
he
That
melts
would
down.
be the defense.
Yeah.
The defense is he wants
right.
it so bad it gets to him.
But you're in a good position.
That's the
if you go to the Clippers, I think they'll be good if they're healthy, but you're not necessarily in any better position than you are in
Exactly.
Philadelphia.
All right, let's
with
talk
MVP.
about his potential destinations. We've got a handful of reports, rumors, and photoshops.
Oh.
The strongest team, the strongest rumor, the loudest rumor, is that he's going to the Clippers. So here's what that would look like.
Oh,
the
cool.
other options are Heat culture with Pat Riley.
Oh, cool.
Another
How you
option
doing that, Wiles?
in the Garden.
That's good. Okay, why?
Well, it's a good-
We're actually entertaining this.
well, we made a Photoshop. He's huge too. That's
He's 90 feet tall.
I do not think the Heat are realistic, even in a 3-team trade, because I do think that Daryl Morey still believes James Harden's a very good player, and the Heat obviously are some of their biggest competitors within the conference, right? Now you could say the Knicks could be as well. I don't see the trade with the Knicks. And I do think what is more likely is the Knicks, as you guys have speculated, are trying to keep their powder dry for a potential Embiid acquisition a year from now, like you have talked about, or
For years.
For years. And so the Clippers, we can show it, Brew. We showed it earlier. The 3-team Clippers trade, where the Sixers get Dame and the Clippers get Harden and the Blazers get Maxey, Powell, Zubats, and a first from each team. And again, the Zubats piece, if you want to argue about should be Covington, Marcus Morris, I think that's fungible. That is the one that solves the most problems. It's like Portland, full rebuild. The Sixers stay competitive. The Clippers, add a point guard. The one that is just so much more fun as a mind bender is the Minnesota one that nobody's speculating about, but much like some other fake trades that I've created. You'll see it in the media in about 5 days, I would imagine. This is interesting, and it would be I would argue this. It would have the widest range of potential outcomes for Philadelphia. That it could be a disaster, and it could be fantastic, and same with Minnesota. I don't think.
Could it be a disaster, though? I don't think disaster.
Well, it could be a
They just
disaster
wouldn't
in
be
that
any
it just
better.
doesn't. They could be
Never
worse.
be
It's like, we don't fit at
Little bit
all.
worse, yeah.
Karl-Anthony Towns is worried about rewriting NBA history.
He's going to.
Yeah. But so I think it's going to be the Clippers in a 3-team trade. I like the Minnesota idea.
Like I said, the Knicks is unrealistic. The Heat, I get it. It's this. I'm not saying this would happen, but let me just throw this out to you. James Harden and Tyrese Maxey for Jimmy Butler.
That's not happening.
I mean, is that terrible?
Yes. Yes.
He's the heart and soul of the team.
Hey, Brew. Yeah.
James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Bam Adebayo.
Brew, they're not trading Jimmy Butler.
How-
They're
I'm
not
just
trading Jimmy
saying,
Butler.
if I'm Philly, I'm asking.
Okay,
All
well,
I'm
that's
calling
why
Pat
people-
Riley.
He's the heart
I'm
and
asking.
soul
I
of
get
the
it, but
team.
I get it. Okay, I think it's unrealistic, but still, I would try that. But outside of that,
All right.
it's clearly the
Hold
Clippers.
on, let me throw one at you.
Clearly the Clippers.
Let me throw one at you. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, a future first, Steph Curry. That's
Is Jimmy Butler Steph Curry?
No, but he's the
One
heart
has
and soul
4
of the
championships,
team.
one has 2
He's
finals
the heart and
appearances.
soul of the team.
Come
I mean,
on.
we can all do this.
Heart and soul of a
We
team
can-
that's not good enough.
We can the
Heart and soul of a team that's not good enough.
Would the Heat be
I got
better?
you there.
Would the Heat be better?
Maybe.
No, they would not.
Harden, Tyrese Maxey, not better, but
Well,
they could be just as good, maybe.
Is that the goal? Isn't the goal?
I'm just saying, if I'm Daryl Morey, make that call.
Make
Just
the
see.
call.
You never know.
You're going to get his
You
number
never know.
blocked by Pat
All right.
Riley.
You never know.
No, you don't need to call.
Brew, but would you hold on? Can I stay on the Clippers just for a second? I have 2 questions for Brew.
Clippers is where
they're
he's gotta
your
go.
beloved Clippers.
Oh,
the first question is, do you think that would work basketball-wise? And the second question is, would you still want Russ back on the minimum?
So I do think it will work basketball-wise.
Okay.
You talk about Harden.
Harden to the Clippers. They keep Paul George and Kawhi.
Harden. Now, he would have to be passed first.
Yeah.
He basically be the same role he is in Philly.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't dribble as much.
I think the role he was
Ty
in
Lue's
Brooklyn.
not going to let him do all that. Yeah, right. So I think it would. I actually think the Clippers, if healthy,
Here we go.
would be very good.
And Russ is on this team?
Would
Well,
you want
here's
Russ
the
back?
next
They're
one.
reunited again?
I don't think I'd want Russ back because, and I, it's sad to say that, but I just don't think he likes that off the bench role. He tried to do it in LA with the Lakers, and he did it as a champion. You know, like he didn't pout and all that.
No, but he hated
But
it.
he just not. Yeah, he hated it, and he's not as effective. And look, I think it's a risk for the Clippers because they need his energy. They do need that
And
energy
his
that he
availability.
brought. Right. So, but I don't think it would work. And even as close as they may be, they played together obviously in Houston.
So where do you have
I don't
Russ
know
going
that I
then?
tried. I don't know. That's I don't
Chicago or Brooklyn is where I have him going no matter what happens with Harden. That's what I think.
know. You don't think he'll stay with the
Clippers? No,
Yeah,
I
think
never
he'll
have
stay
thought
with the
that, 'cause
Clippers.
he's
If
not
they
gonna
don't get
play for
Harden, I think he
$3.8
stays
million
there.
bucks.
Okay, coming up next on the show, Kyrie and Embiid. We're just doing all the machinations for you. Next, FS1.
That would mean Harden and my large adult Slovenian son together?
Is he still there?
Yes. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.